Audience retention.
Retention.
View retention.
Retention is the golden word of content creation. Whether it's YouTube videos, TikTok, Reels, Shorts, even the platform formerly known as Twitter, retaining your viewers for as long as possible is essential for growth. And as creators, you know this. You pay attention to it. You analyze it. You see what you think is working or not working. What if I told you that your understanding of retention, this simple concept of keeping your viewers' attention for as long as possible, is all wrong?
Do you guys know how retention works?
Yeah.
Don't click off.
I'm going to break down 3 fundamental mistakes that creators are making when it comes to retention, and it's holding you back. The first 2 mistakes are really important things to wrap your head around, and trust me, they're not things that most people know. And the third mistake we'll cover is a total game changer that's going to revolutionize the way you think about creating content forever.
My focus is on retention.
To start, take a look at these 2 retention graphs. We've got video A, which has 60% retention, and video B, which has 45% retention. Here's a quick question for you. What is the main difference between video A and video B that is causing retention to be so different? Lots of things can affect retention, so just have a think about what the number 1 thing could be. Maybe write it in the comments if you want to be able to refer back to it later, and just keep your answer in mind as we progress through this video. Maybe see if your mind changes at all, and I'll give you the actual answer later on. To get an understanding of the retention problem, we need to talk about swimming. On screen now is a list of what was, a couple of years ago, the 20 fastest times ever swam in the men's 100-meter breaststroke. And there was something truly mind-blowing about these times. A fellow bald man from the UK who's not quite as handsome and muscular as I am, Adam Peaty, was so good at the 100-meter breaststroke that he held not just the world record, but the 20 fastest times ever set. Imagine being that good at something. So it's official. Adam Peaty is the man we should all compare ourselves to if we're trying to race 100 meters as quickly as possible. Or is he? Because Adam Peaty is the best at breaststroke in what's known as the long course, which is a 50-meter pool. It's what they use in the Olympics. But what if we move to the short course, a 25-meter pool, where you turn 3 times instead of 1? Well, Adam Peaty is no longer the best. Now, it's Belarusian swimmer Ilya Shimanovic. So, either Adam Peaty or Ilya Shimanovic is who we should compare ourselves to when trying to race 100 meters as quickly as possible. But what about Thomas Chekon, who beat Adam Peaty's time by 5 whole seconds, but he was swimming backstroke? Or what about Usain Bolt, who decides just to run it because it's way faster, way more practical, and you don't have to wear a silly hat? All of this is relevant to the first major flaw with retention. A lot of people say that you should aim for 50% retention on your video. Others say you should aim for 60% retention. In this Mr. Beast graph, we can see that on his world's most dangerous trap video, he got almost 70% retention on a 20-minute video. But here's the thing, different types of videos will naturally have totally incomparable retention. Think of tutorials. I'm sure you've looked up tutorials before and learned how to do something. People need to watch an entire tutorial to learn how to do something. If you leave halfway through, then you only have half of the steps. So tutorials naturally have very high retention. On the flip side, think of a product review. Most people watching a product review are considering whether to buy a product. So they look up for a review online and they find a video, they get to see the product in real life rather than just in a photo. And then all they're really looking for is a quick verdict on whether they should buy it or whether the product is right for them or not. Retention in product reviews is a lot lower because the audience just wants to know whether they should buy the product or not and then leave as quickly as possible. There are so many factors that will affect a video's retention before a viewer has even watched a single second of content. The type of video. Are people watching for education or entertainment? The length, the niche, the average age of the viewer, the device they're watching on. Are they likely to be watching on their phone looking for a quick dopamine hit? Or are they laid back, settling in for the night and watching on a TV? There is no good retention figure to aim for. Just like Adam Peaty, Thomas Chekon and Usain Bolt, every niche, every channel, and often videos on the same channel are competing in totally different races. And you also need to understand that the retention graphs you see in YouTube analytics are pretty close to useless, unless you view every single one of them with a solid understanding of context, and even then they're still pretty close to useless. I made a video with over 700,000 views and it earned nearly $3,000 from ads, but the retention on it was only 27%. I know why this is, but do you? When we answer that question that I asked at the start of this video, things are going to make so much more sense. So our understanding of what good retention is probably wrong. And the second mistake we're making is probably going to make you hungry. A lot of factors go into making a good video, and people usually get bogged down with one task in particular. It's the longest part of the content process for most people. It takes a long time to learn, and everyone is always looking for new tips, tactics, and tricks to hack retention by using this. We're of course talking about editing. Simple editing is very important. You've got to cut out your mistakes, and you've got to bring up text and images on screen for visual context. But more advanced editing, like flashy transitions, sound effects, fancy on-screen graphics, VFX, and even taking time to record B-roll, these are all things that are only going to improve your video by 0.5 out of 10, at best. If retention was a cake, the actual cake itself, the flour, sugar, eggs, milk, the bulk of the finished product that people devour, it would not be editing. And do you know what it would be? Because a lot of people won't want to hear this. It would be the script. Without a good script, you're just left with a mishmash of random ingredients that could have tasted absolutely delicious if you'd bought them together in the right way, but instead, you've left your viewer with a mouthful of eggs and flour. What you're saying, when you're saying it, and how you're saying it, hooking people and keeping their attention throughout a video is extremely important and by far the most important factor when it comes to retention. The flavor of the cake. You need a dash of vanilla or cocoa powder, or maybe even some fruit, to make sure that the finished product is nice for people to consume. This is audio quality. It matters a lot for retention. The filling between the cake's layers would be basic editing. It keeps everything stuck together and adds that essential touch. We don't want our cake to be dry, and we don't want viewers to be bored with what they're consuming. Combining a great script with clean audio and simple editing is why so many faceless channels perform amazingly well. You don't actually need anything more than this. The icing on the cake would be video quality. It's not that important, and you can have a great cake without it. But having nice lighting or 4K quality is a good touch that people remember. Advanced editing and recording B-roll is the cherry on top of the icing on top of the cake. This is what you should spend your time on if you're absolutely confident that you've nailed every other aspect of your cake. Because here's the thing, amazing editing will not save a terrible video, but an interesting video with bad editing can still do really well. Before we move on to the final and by far the biggest retention mistake that you're making, let's pull up those graphs from earlier and answer that question. What was the main difference between video A and video B that was causing a massive 15% difference in retention? What was so much better about video A? Has your answer changed at all? Well, the answer is, and this was a bit of a trick, they're exactly the same video. However, graph A shows the retention for returning viewers on a channel that has a lot of subscribers, and graph B shows retention on that same video for new viewers. Videos will regularly appeal a lot more to returning viewers who already know that they like your content. This is why some more established channels can sometimes get great retention on videos that don't even get that many views relative to their size, because only the existing audience is interested in it. Retention in isolation can be extremely misleading. My 27% retention video with 700,000 views, it appealed almost entirely to brand new viewers, with nearly a quarter of cold people to the channel still watching after 38 minutes. So here's a bonus retention tip. Make sure that every video you make is interesting for new and returning viewers. You always want that overlap. So now we understand that retention is relative, and we understand that the bulk of retention comes from what you say, not how you look when you say it. But here's the biggest retention mistake by far that almost every single one of you is making right now. And I know this is going to sound crazy with a lot of creators, but watch time or video retention is not what your aim should be. Take click-through rate, for example. If your challenge was just to get the highest click-through rate you possibly could on a single video, what would you do? Well, you'd be incentivized to clickbait, because clickbait works until people get tired of it. So if your goal is to make watch time as long as possible, you're actually incentivized to waste people's time. And again, they will get tired of it. So instead of video retention, I want you to think about this instead. You don't want someone to watch your video for as long as possible. Instead, you want someone to love your video and then watch another one of your videos and click subscribe, then watch another video, then tell all their friends about your channel and become a sticky viewer. One that is still watching in months or even years' time, and they're still watching every upload with your retention cake smeared all over their face. Having viewers that are absolutely covered in your Black Forest gatto, now that is retention. Instead of video retention, where your aim is to keep someone watching a video for as long as possible, aim for channel retention, where they're sticking around watching all of your videos. Reward people for watching every single second of your content. The truth is, retention is not the #1 factor for driving traction, and I can prove it. If you want to know how the YouTube algorithm really works right now, and how I used repeatable tactics to explode a YouTube channel with just 300 subscribers to hundreds of thousands of views in a week, you need to watch the next video that's on screen now, and I've linked it in the description below.